Good evening. Deepak sir, it's over to you.
Thank you, Chaitra. Welcome all. Good evening and very warm welcome for this webinar. I think people will still continue to join us, and let's begin. Let me introduce Dr. Vasanth Kumar, who is also called as plant pathologist. He is served in this industry for almost 3.5 decades, and he has done. He's also traveled overseas, and he's worked in some of the best companies in seed manufacturing companies. And he is basically from Mysore, and he's done some extraordinary job which I couldn't. And where
this thing will going to happen in next 5, 10, 15 years.
connect how we can help our farmers if we can reach out Dr. Vasanth Kumar and his team across India, because there is a lot of transformation which can happen and a transition of change in mindset which he is going to address. And I think it's a very starking information which we are going to get through. We have some of the influencers also in this call who are also present, and some of them are into agriculture consulting, and some of them are into hydroponics, some of them into consulting, and all these people will only take us forward and help us connect across India and connect with the farming community. I will just give some data points. See, our GDP is still 50% of our population is still dependent on the agrarian produce, and 15 to 16% of our GDP is still agriculture is contributing to our GDP. While we compare this to China, China's agro produce has crossed more than $1,000 billion. We are at $400 billion, which is almost, China is almost 3.5 times of our agro produce, largely because they have put in a lot of investments on R&D and as well as exports. Their investments in terms of agro in innovation R&D is almost 8 billion, whereas we are just 1.5 billion there. And in terms of land area, cultivable land area, China is 15% lesser than India, but still they are able to produce more than us, almost 3.5 times better than us. That gives us a scope, a large scope, why we shouldn't be reaching those kind of growth per hectare. And even their cultivable land is much lesser, though geographically they are much larger than India, but the cultivable land is much lesser. So I think we have a lot of opportunities, and just some of the minor things which I have learned from Dr. Vasanth Kumar after seeing his presentation. I think there is a lot of scope for each one of us to help our farming community. And there is a lot of scope in terms of reverse migration, where people are just migrating to urban cities with the hope of finding a job. And there is a lot of opportunities in the rural economy. And if this is done really well, and if we also look at some policy changes, I think there is enough scope for us to develop this sector. And a lot of logistics, once the farm bill gets cleared, there is a lot of opportunities in logistics. There is a lot of opportunities in technology innovation where startups can help the farming community, also in financing. I think with this, I will hand over the presentation to Dr. Vasanth Kumar. And anybody has any questions, please type in the chat, and please mute yourself till the presentation is over. Please be on mute. If you have any questions, we will take each one of your questions at the end of the session. And thank you very much. Thanks, Chaitra, for organizing this. And over to Dr. Vasanth Kumar.
Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to all of you for this presentation. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Deepak Gadge for organizing this meeting. And also I thank Dr. Mishra, Dr. Arunlal, and others, and my daughter, Dr. Chaitra, for hosting this and making this possible. And I must thank Deepak Gadge for having so much of hopes on my project. And what I am going to speak today is that what is the background of this low productivity in India? Despite so many advanced technologies are available in India, just like in any other parts of the world. But what are the problems and what is my experience? Because I am not going to speak any theory here. I'm only going to show you a model. Anybody is interested to help Indian farmers, they can take some points from my experience and my project, my model, and take it forward in other parts of the country. That is the point. So now I'm going to speak through my presentation. So I have given the title today is that the art and science of agriculture and my experience in that. The art is the knowledge what I gained as a son of a farmer from my childhood and throughout my life. And the science of agriculture I learned in my profession. So as everyone knows that food is the first and foremost basic need, and nowadays we talk about only software and hardware, but without food we are nowhere. During COVID time, everyone understood, rich, poor, everyone understood one thing is that we can live without medication or vaccination, but definitely not without food. Food is not just a thing to eat. When you take food as a thing for a nation, it's a weapon. Anybody can use this as a weapon. In the past history, you can see many, many incidences where the neighboring countries or enemy countries have used food as weapon. And food is a strength to the nation. Without food, there can't be any peace in the country or in the world. Food gives you freedom, and thereby you get sovereignty. And this food, most important basic need of human being, it's not manufactured in factories, but it is produced in farms and by farmers. So our first prime minister, soon after independence, he declared that anything can stop, but not agriculture. And in Kannada, Krishito nasti durbhiksham, ಏನನ್ನಾದರೂ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸಬಹುದು ಆದರೆ ಕೃಷಿಯನ್ನಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. Our second prime minister said Jai Jawan Jai Kisan. This shows the importance of border security as well as food security. And then during Indira Gandhi's time, Green Revolution happened. She gave a lot of importance for um, our own research inside India, taking the clue from Green Revolution happened in Mexico and other developed countries. And this was caused by Dr. Norman Borlaug, who is heralded as the father of Green Revolution. He is the man who saved billion lives. And you can see that there is a stamp about wheat revolution. And if you look at that, Mr. Deepak Gadge was mentioning that 14 to 15% GDP. But for your kind information, this year it jumped to 20% after 17 years. This is because of COVID, other sectors growth was less, and only agriculture saw the positive GDP growth last year, 2021. So because of this, it reached 20%. So this is the latest information, 29th January 2021 in Down to Earth. So before Green Revolution in our agrarian country, 70 to 80% of the workforce was involved in agriculture. But we were producing only 50 million metric tons. And during 1960s, we had only 50 billion people. And we couldn't feed the 50 billion people that time. And the GDP share was more than 50%. And the situation was called ship-to-mouth situation. Only when the ship with grains arrived from US, Indian people had food. That was the kind of situation. Then, of course, Green Revolution happened in 1970. And now, as on today, the workforce is reduced to 50%. But still, it's a very high number. and we are reaching almost 300 million metric tons now, from 50 million metric tons to 300 million metric tons. That is 6 times grain production has jumped. And GDP today is 20%. And from ship to mouth situation, we have reached self-sufficiency. Green revolution happened because of genetics, that is by producing or developing high yielding varieties. They may be just OP varieties in some crops. In some crops, they may be hybrids. Nowadays, we even have GM crops, that is genetically modified crops. And also to get the full potential of the high yielding varieties, we had to give additional nutrition than what is available in the soil or in our organic manure. So we started giving fertilizers, especially NPK, during the early stages. Now we talk even about the secondary and micronutrients. Then, of course, irrigation facilities were provided by building dams across the rivers. And we have borewell system now, sprinkler irrigation, drip irrigation, and so many advanced irrigation systems. Because of all these three, the green revolution happened. And there is quantum leap. Just in 2019 to 20, we had already produced per annum 110 million metric tons of wheat alone. So out of 300 million metric tons, 110 million tons in, and then next comes rice and all that. Not only in grain and pulses production, but also we made a huge jump in horticultural production, especially fruits and vegetables. Today, if you have money, you can buy any food of your choice, whether it is grains or vegetables, pulses, fruits, anything, even flowers. We have plenty of production in the whole country. So not only on the roadside, but even in the markets and supermarkets, you see the rainbow revolution you can see here. It's not just green revolution. It's a rainbow revolution, we should say. So in addition to that, we have made a revolution in egg production, meat production, milk production, oilseed production, and so many other areas we have simultaneously made the progress. So now, from food scarcity to food security, we have reached. And in Kannada, we should say Bhiksha Patraya Sthiti in the Akshaya Patraya Sthiti Genta. So we have so much food in the country that the country, the government could had the courage to bring food security bill. So we have the right to food now. So we have brought in that, and see on your left, you can see the ship has arrived, and the Chief Minister of Madras State that time is inspecting the arrival of food. And now we have. But when we have made so much progress in the country in terms of agricultural production, but our farmers is in deep distress. In Kannada, I want to say that ಅನ್ನದಾತನಿಗೆ ಅನ್ನವಿಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗದಿದ್ದ ಅನ್ನದಾತನ ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆಗಳು 140 ಕೋಟಿ ಜನರಿಗೆ ಅನ್ನವನ್ನು ಕೊಡುವಾಗ ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಸರಣಿ ಆತ್ಮಹತ್ಯೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. So to tell you in English, see, we had no incidences of farmer suicide when we had no food. Even farmers didn't have food. I am from a farming family. We had plenty of lands in our, and we had plenty of rains, everything. But even we used to go to societies to buy these grains donated by United States of America. So that was the situation. But we had never heard of farmer suicide that time. Now our farmers are able to produce enough and more food for 140 crore people, and farmer is committing suicide. It's a very bad situation. So farmer suicides on rise. IB report says that is in 2014, is every year it is increasing. If you look at the main causes of farmer suicides, there are many, of course, poverty, then illness and family problems. But the 60% of the problem is related to agriculture, or the indebtedness and farming problems. And if you look at the share of large, marginal, and medium and small farmers, 44.5% of the suicides happen among small farmers. And the leading states are Maharashtra, Telangana, and Karnataka. So even it has become such a common news in newspaper and media that we have lost any sensitivity to the such news. And farmer, nobody is talking about that as if it is a regular feature. And during this time, we are talking about going back to organic farming. And farmer is confused whether he should follow the modern agriculture system or going back to organic farming is the safe way. And it's a debatable thing. I don't go into the details of that now, but many people quote the reasons for this dismal situation is, of course, it is commonly said in India that Indian farmers gamble with monsoon. It's not just monsoon, excess rain, no rain, all these are very common today. So we can say weather vagaries and increased cost of cultivation. Nowadays, this year, the price of fertilizers has gone up more than 50%. 5 to 6% increase itself is very big damage to the farmer. But imagine 50 to 60% increase of fertilizer cost, what it would cause on the fate of the plate of farmer. So, and then diversion of loan amount. Farmer, when he borrows money from the banks or anybody, then he may not use for the purpose for what he has taken it. So he is diversifying his loan amount to many unproductive reasons like marriages and things like that. And because of that also he is not having money for the right kind of inputs he has to give to his crop for the maximum benefit. And then volatile prices is everybody knows it, and middleman is eating away his profit. Money lenders are squeezing the farmers, and more than anything, pests and diseases are also taking away his major this thing. I am today going to talk more about these pests and diseases because by reducing the losses due to these pests and diseases, we can make that much more food available or the produce available to the farmers. But the most important but highly ignored fact is that nobody talks about this. The farmer, a lack of scientific cultivation and lack of financial literacy. These are actually dwindling, squeezing him. And we only ask for scientific pricing. Farmers groups or even economists are talking about the market price and all that. It depends on the supply demand situation. But when we ask for scientific pricing, so far no one has asked the government to give scientific knowledge about scientific cultivation. This is a very, very glaring gap I'm seeing. I will show you with my own experience how we have made that possible. So this is resulting in reduced productivity, diminished profitability, and lowest repaying capacity, and he gets into the vicious circle of debt. So if you today in India, as I have shown that any kind of food is available in the market if you have the money. Similarly for farmers, any kind of seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, equipment are available from any multinational company. He can import any technology. He can have seeds of any multinational company, fertilizers and pesticides of any multinational company. But even if he is ready to pay money, he doesn't have access to the knowledge of scientific cultivation. We have so many public institutions to share knowledge or do extension, but it's not happening to the extent it should have happened. So look at the productivity of our country. It is much lower than the world average. The number one and number two are US and China. So in the introduction itself, Mr. Deepak Gadge told how China is able to produce 3 times more agricultural, can do agricultural production more than India. But then why? And they have less land than compared to us. So challenge is the ever increasing population is a well-known thing. And we have the challenge for the future is to produce more from less. It's not just food now. Because of the purchasing capacity of the people, they are asking for more nutritious food and more safe food in the sense with less residues in their food. So we have to produce more from less land because land is shrinking, less water, everyone knows. how water is important today, and less labor because agricultural laborers are not available in the villages. They have all migrated to cities for meager jobs, and less chemicals because we have to reduce the chemical residues in our food, and less cost because the cost of production has gone up so much. So how to increase? We have three options, as I told you. Land area is one option, but it is not possible. We all know about it. Increasing yield through genetics that has reached a saturation point, so no further increase due to genetics is possible. But as I said, reducing losses due to biotic and abiotic stresses, that is an option open to us now. So this is the latest news. That is 35% of our total crop yield is lost to pests and diseases. So this is in Hindu. And despite the use of pesticides worth 32 billion US dollars, we are losing this much 30 to 35% of our crops to these pests and diseases. So among them, weeds stand number one, diseases number two, insects are number three, and rodent and others, the rest of the share. So there are many public KVKs, Department of Agriculture, Department of Horticulture, Agriculture universities, so on and so forth. But the easy access plant doctor or plant clinic is a pesticide dealer. That is the dismal situation. And they themselves don't have much knowledge about crops and their problems, and they cannot diagnose the problem to give the right this thing. So for them, profit is the most important criterion. So they go by the profit and based on the knowledge given by the pesticide companies. And before I go into my model, I want to introduce myself that I am product of University of Mysore, and I studied BSc, MSc, MPhil in seed pathology and PhD in seed pathology in the University of Mysore. And soon after my doctorate, I was a faculty member there, permanent faculty. So I was teaching the seed pathology, but then I wanted to learn the science of agriculture. So I quit. I took a very courageous decision to quit a stable university job. It is more than 100 years old university. So I quit my job, leaving my UGC scale, and jumped into a seed industry to learn the science of agriculture. So I was lucky to get entry into the world's first hybrid seed company. At that time, it was the largest seed company in the world, that is Pioneer Seeds. So this is the company which started commercializing hybrid maize in US and then in the entire world. And that technology has been adapted in all the other crops. So I worked and traveled worldwide because it had branches in 150 countries. And I could go and work with, this is in Canada, this is in Hawaii, this is in Canada, this is in again Canada, this is in US. And I went to various laboratories to learn with different specialization in plant pathology, because I was just a mycologist. I had to learn nematology. I'm learning nematology here, then virology, and I went to various countries to learn various aspects of plant pathology and agriculture. This is in Germany. You can see this is in Germany. This is West Indies. This is Kennesaw University in US, Atlanta. It's a farmer's field. This is a farmer's field. This farmer maintains 4,000 hectares. Only 3 people manage 4,000 hectares. They grow only corn and soybean alternatively. And went to many research stations, learned many techniques. This is in Taiwan, Asian Vegetable Research Station. This is in Taiwan in 1992. My colleague, Dr. Tikku, is here. Maybe he is today attending this meeting. And this is in Taiwan again. This is in Mexico. This is in California. This is in France, where I learned that he is a famous virologist. I learned virology from him. This is in China, again China. This is in Dubai. This is Wisconsin. This is Auburn. That is my wife. She is also a seed pathologist. She also quit her job to support me. And while traveling like this in 1998, I had the great opportunity of meeting and listening to Dr. Norman Borlaug, who is the father of Green Revolution. And he is the only agricultural scientist to get Nobel Prize. And for your information, though food and agriculture are so important for man's survival, there is no there is no Nobel Prize for agriculture. But still, this person got it because he saved billion lives, and he was responsible for the re-establishment of world peace. Because without food, there can't be world peace. And he should be remembered forever by Indians. He got Padma Bhushan from our government of India for his contribution, and he actually deserves Bharat Ratna, in my opinion. So he is basically a pathologist like me, but if he had remained as a pathologist, he wouldn't have developed such a wonder hybrids or high-yielding varieties of wheat. Then he turned into a breeder when he went to Mexico. He became a wheat breeder, and he incorporated dwarfing genes and rust-resistant genes into the new varieties of wheat. And because of that, Green Revolution happened. And after doing his research, he went across the world to do extension and spread the technology or the high-yielding varieties to other countries, especially to poor countries like India. Because of his humanitarian nature, he is a great humanist. So he is called the man who fed the world. So when I met him, and he realized that there should be always encouragement or intensive for anybody who worked for increasing the food production in the world. He was instrumental in establishing the World Food Prize. And the very first World Food Prize was given to our own Indian, Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. You can see me behind me. There is Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. In the center, there is Dr. Norman Borlaug. And other side is Dr. Professor Muhammad Yunus, who also got World Food Prize as well as Nobel Prize. Okay, these are the Indians who got World Food Prize. So I had the opportunity to meet them in one of the ceremonies. So then I decided that I was working as a plant pathologist, helping breeders. Then I thought, no, I should go back to my roots and start helping our farmers as plant doctor. So I wanted to become a plant doctor. So I decided that, came back to my roots and started my own organization called Green Life Science Technologies. And our vision is to empower the farmer. So we are talking about empowering women and so many other things. So I thought we should empower the farmers so that through that we can empower the nation. Because villages are the lifeblood of our nation. Mahatma Gandhi says our nation lives in villages. And the farmers, most of the villages are farmers. And because he produces our food, so he is the most important integral component of any society in any part of the world. So it is said that once in a way we need an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer, but every day, thrice a day, we need a farmer. So he's an important and integral component of our life. So our mission is to provide him with societal security and dignity. He doesn't have any societal dignity as of today because he is always integrated. He has become like a person who looks for somebody for some help. So we want to provide him with much needed information, inputs, and investment to help him grow successful crop, which is the key for his profitability and prosperity. And to give him financial literacy, because whether the money borrowed or earned, he doesn't know how to save it and use it. So he should also learn how to earn correctly and save and use it. To educate him on ecological literacy by introducing agroforestry and soil and water conservation knowledge, etc. And to help him lead a self-reliant life with self-respect, to prevent migration of rural youth to urban area for jobs, to make the rural economy vibrant that can lead to vibrant urban economy, to make the agricultural activity as eco-friendly and sustainable as possible, to set a replicable, scalable, and sustainable model for all those interested in farmers' welfare. This is a mission of Green Life Science Technologies. So when I wanted to start, where to start? So the charity should begin at home. I am from Mysore district, so I came back to convert Mysore district into California of Karnataka because I had a lot of experience in vegetable production, and the weather is soil and weather is very congenial for vegetable production. So I wanted to do that, but unfortunately it was occupied completely by FCV tobacco, which is a cash crop. So, but tobacco growers initially had very good development due to tobacco introduction about 40 years back. But now they are again into vicious cycle of debt because of poor productivity, and they are all in debt trap. So there was no land available for, forget about vegetable crops, even for their own ragi, rice, every other things, they didn't have enough food because of the horizontal expansion of area under tobacco. So our GLT, we everything I didn't follow anyone's model. So I had a different objective and unique research mode, and we developed unique products, and our service is unique, and our business model is unique, and because of this, we are able to produce unique impact and results. Look at this. This is in Madison. This is plant with a plant clinic. That is, she is the plant doctor in that university. So you can see the plant samples which have arrived in her laboratory. So she diagnoses and gives back the remedy to the farmers. So when I was traveling in US, I had seen many such plant clinics. I wanted to introduce this concept in Karnataka and India. So I was always promoting this concept, and I started my own. And this is my agri clinic. This is my agri clinic. And I had the opportunity to serve as a technical advisor to then agriculture minister under SM Krishna's regime. Mr. Jayachandra was agriculture minister. I was his technical advisor, and I was able to convince them to start farmers information center at Hobli levels. So they called it as Raita Samparka Kendra. So in Karnataka, all over, we have this thing. So my own private, but still it is free for farmers. So it was even now we are running it very successfully. Many farmers take the advantage nowadays because of the technology, WhatsApp and other things. They don't have to come my lab to laboratory. So even my son did a project on WhatsApp technology to disseminate knowledge to the farmers and to address their problems. So Chinese proverb says that don't give a fish to a hungry man, because you are helping him only for one time. But if you teach him how to fish, he can lead a very independent life by fishing all his needs of fish, and he can even give to others. So because of that, I started going to villages with the help of Rotary Club and other organizations. So I conducted hundreds of training programs in remote villages and towns, even in schools, banks, and so on and so forth. So hundreds of training programs I conducted, and that was not enough actually, because as a doctor I was prescribing the right remedies, but our farmers were not able to get the inputs or the prescribed medicines in the market or from tobacco board. So it was not giving any results. So they asked for the medicines also from the doctor. Then I was ready to give the medicine, but then they said they don't have money to buy it. So I was to give these medicines, pre-prescription and medicines on credit. So taking all the risk on myself, I did all that. And these are the training programs. And we also developed, see, in tobacco or any most of the crops, we have only high yielding varieties, that is genetics, and the right agronomical practices, and then the pesticides to control the pests and diseases. So these are the three major components involved in any common crop. But I wanted to introduce a new concept in tobacco, that is playing on the physiology of the crop, because it is said that whatever we are seeing in any hybrid or crop is only 60 to 70% of the full potential of the variety. So again, 30 to 40% gap is still there. So I realized that, and nobody had thought of this concept in tobacco in the entire country during the last nearly 80 years. So I introduced a new concept of plant tonic. We developed a plant tonic based on plant extracts. So with to induce resistance, to increase the vigor, and to increase the fresh growth. And we focused on roots because mm, roots are the major organ which is invisible, but it is the most important organ because the root only absorbs all the moisture or the water and nutrients given to the soil. Without proper root system, without healthy root system, uh, then the plants cannot absorb its raw materials to produce. So because of this product, we developed a concept that more root means more fruit, more leaf, because any plant, it should produce more leaf because leaf is the kitchen of the plant. So, and more green means more chlorophyll because chlorophyll is the cook of the plant. So when we increase with one product, we were able to increase all these. Because of this, you can see this farmer holding the tobacco plant. It looks like banana plant. And see tobacco plant showing throwing the suckers on the at the bottom of the plant. So it has become so vigorous because of this technology. So I'm see this was the situation earlier, poor crop stand because of diseases and other problems. See this, and unless you have uniform crop stand, you cannot expect good high yield and best quality. So this was the situation, and we studied the problems threadbare, and then seedlings were very poor, and we studied what are the disease. There is a disease succession in the right in the nursery. Normally in other crops only damping of the is the problem, but in tobacco, because it's at the 60 days duration, it had a series of diseases, and because of this, when they planted them, uh, they were not establishing well, and they had to replant many a times, and it used to increase the cost of production. We say that gap means good agricultural practices. We want to follow good agriculture, but there is a gap in this gap. So there was information gap, as I already put it, input gap and investment gap. So after giving all these, they were able to grow wonderful nursery. But if you don't use our product, it may be healthy, but it may have poor root system. When they use our product 520, it had a wonderful root system. So deep root system means drought resistance. So because of this, they were able to get, even when tray technology was introduced 10 years back, even there our technology helped a lot to produce more biomass, including leaf and roots. So when they were planted, they established very well, and they had a very high initial vigor. And because of that, they could get wonderful leaf and highest yield per acre. And the soil. So we focused on soil fertility and health also. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan says soil anemia breeds human anemia. And our health depends on crop health, and crop health depends on soil health. So everyone should worry about soil health. Soil health is different, soil fertility is different. And just like what we have to eat balanced food for good health, like carbohydrate, protein, fat, vitamins, and minerals in our diet, plants also, crops also need all their nutrients in a balanced manner. So if we all know that if we eat more carbohydrate, it leads to diabetes. Like that, more this carbohydrate is equivalent to nitrogen. Because of high subsidy given to nitrogenous fertilizers, urea is cheapest among all the fertilizers, potash is the costliest, so we use more of nitrogen, and it leads to more greenness, the plants become more succulent, more sweet, the juice in the plants become more sweet, and this sweetness is liked by all insects, microbes, bacteria, fungi, nematode, everything. So they become highly susceptible to the attack of pests and diseases. So we should know that these are the different nutrients required by, though it is required, they are required in a different ratio, different quantities, all of them are equally important. We have forgotten this. So this is banana. We know that banana is rich in potassium. So in our diet, we are asked to eat bananas to get more potassium. That is the reason why when it is grown, you can see potassium deficiency. It's an indicator, clear indicator of potassium deficiency. From distance, it looks like Sigatoka disease, and anyone will recommend for control of Sigatoka disease. But unless you give the right potassium dosage, it cannot be corrected. So nutrition mining has happened over 50 years because of high yielding varieties and hybrids, because they need more nutrition. So whatever was left in the soil, it has been mined out because of continuous cropping. Earlier we used to grow only one crop per annum, but now we are able to grow 2 to 2.5 crops or 3 crops. And monocropping has become very, very common. So the nutrition is not mined at different strata. And imbalanced fertilizer has led to the spoilage of soil and lack of soil test-based fertilizer application. Because of this, our soils have become totally depleted of nutrition. So the chemistry, physics, and biology of soils have been changed totally. And look at the bank system. Agriculture NPI ballooned by 30% in 2 years. Okay, this is in Times of India last year, October. So it is increasing because farmers are unable to pay the loans. And gross NPI of agriculture sector crosses 1 trillion rupees in public sector banks. And top 10 corporate NPS cost exchequer twice as much as farm loan waivers. So this is the present situation and the exchequer of the government. And of course, top companies, you can see how much they owe to the banks. Anyway, coming back to the agriculture, science of agriculture. When we grow a crop, the nutrition and protection should go hand in hand, because when the plants suffer from abiotic stresses like deficiency or drought, they become more prone to diseases and insect attack. So unless you are able to give proper nutrition, we cannot expect the resistance in the plant system, which may be there innately. So for our success, we looked at the problem as a holistic thing. Our approach is holistic approach. So we focused on soil health and nutrition management, integrated water management, and integrated pest and disease management. So we should also know that the soil pH. First of all, we should have the soil test reports, and we should normalize the pH, because under different pH conditions, the nutrient absorption varies. And this is, see, look at this soil health card. The government says that so many crores of, or lakhs and crores of soil health cards have been issued to farmers. But what is the benefit of that? And first of all, the very name of soil health card is wrong, because it talks only about chemistry of the soil. That is, what are the nutrition available, fertilizer or chemicals available in this. It doesn't, except pH and NPK or other micronutrients, it doesn't speak anything. Except electric conductivity, it doesn't speak anything. It doesn't speak about the health of the soil. Does it say that whether it has these many organisms which are beneficial, these many harmful organisms like bacteria, fungi, nematodes, insects? No, it doesn't speak. Then how can it be called a soil health card? I don't know. And see, because what all the things is happening at farmers level. Wrong fertilizer application is the mother of many problems. So we have no idea about fertilizers at all. At least for pests and diseases, the pesticide companies are educating their dealers, and dealers are trying to impart that knowledge to the farmers. But when it comes to fertilizers, nutrition, nobody is there to help them. Nobody is talking about this. So we don't know they don't know what is the balanced nutrition. They don't know how to calculate. Suppose NPK is given like 100, 80 and 120. How to calculate the fertilizers? Nobody has educated farmers to do the calculation. He doesn't know how much per plant or per acre he has to put the dosage. And he doesn't know the right method of application. I will show you the examples in the field. See, for example, in tobacco, he has put all the fertilizers supplied by tobacco board, but he has put just around a half foot away from the plants. In between the two plants, he has put in the center, and it is not put below the soil. So it is exposed and there is no moisture. The soil is totally dry. How can the plant take this new fertilizer? See, because of that, it is being wasted. The rain is taking away and it is being evaporated, and 80% of the fertilizer applied is wasted. Because of this, the crop is suffering from all kinds of deficiencies. What kind of, see, the fertilizer is just lying there. You can see that. And already plant has matured. Already bottom 2-3 leaves are harvested. This is all the height. How much? 1.5 to 2 feet height. That's all. And how many leaves are there? Maybe 7 to 8 leaves per plant. Actually, we expect 20 to 22 leaves per plant, and up to 6 feet height it should grow. I will show you how it can be grown. And because of these fertilizers, the weeds are growing luxuriantly. The crop is becoming weak, and the weeds are becoming dominant. See this. Leaves harvested, fertilizer are still lying there. And it has been converted into so many other unavailable form. See, this is not only in tobacco, any crop for that matter. Farmer doesn't know how to put fertilizer. What to put, how to put, how much to put, he doesn't know. Any crop for that matter. See, this is a muskmelon. He has put the fertilizer in the water channel. So it will go away with the water. And see, he has not weeded, but along with the weeds, he has put the fertilizers. And he has put, this person is better. He has put the hole, but the person who is putting the fertilizer has not put inside it and covered it. So it is also being wasted. And because of this, the plant has become pale and the weeds are growing luxuriantly. See this. This is the right way of putting the fertilizer in tobacco. And see, there are 3 kinds of fertilizers. There is calcium ammonium nitrate, there is MOP, and there is sulfate of potash. So what she is putting right now is sulfate of potash. So already 2 CAN and MOP has been put. They have to be put separately. They are not mixed and put. See this, I am showing this. See, it looks like a diseased crop. Okay, but see the eucalyptus tree behind my head. That is the landmark. So the farmer had sprayed all kinds of pesticides on this crop and he was ready to remove it. I said, no, we can recover this crop. So he was surprised. Then after 10 days, the crop was revived. You can see the crop inside with the old leaves having that problem. See this. This is how we recovered just by, that was magnesium deficiency. Most of the cucurbit crops are demanding more of magnesium, and these soils have become deficient in magnesium over years because of the continuous cultivation of varieties of vegetables in Kolar area. There is no magnesium in the soil. Mostly even the soils are sandy. So just by giving magnesium sulfate, we could recover this crop and extend for 2 more months. And imagine how much was saved for farmer and how much has been saved for the nation. See this ginger crop. See the landmarks here. And just in 10 days, we converted the crop like this. It was just iron deficiency. See this and see this. So farmers don't know. They just keep spraying whatever recommended by the pesticide dealer, he keeps, and adding to the cost of cultivation without any avail. And it is a double loss to the farmer. And see, this news came in newspaper. We went to see the place, and the situation was like this. The local variety was green because it doesn't demand high input. And on the right side, high yielding rice variety was all yellow in color. People, the newspaper people thought it was a disease and they put in the newspaper. But nobody cared for that. We went as a private people, we went just to what is that problem. And we gave the right nutrition And we diagnosed the problem, we gave the right nutrition. Within 15 days, it came back to greenness. And see the panicle on the treated plant field, it is heavy panicle. The local variety which was green earlier, now turning yellow and no much panicles. See the difference in the yield. Imagine how much the largest area in India is rice field. How much we are losing the productivity, how much fertilizer we are losing, and how much water we are losing. So we must know that law of minimum, we must know. Deficiency of any single nutrient is enough to drain out the effect of other nutrients. So if you give less of potassium because it is a high cost, so all your nitrogen will also get wasted. All other nutrients, even peak and other micronutrients, everything will get wasted. And see this is a point of diminishing returns. So earlier Punjab farmers thought by giving extra fertilizers they will get extra income. So because mindlessly they put extra fertilizers. That is the reason why they are into those problems. So there is a point of diminishing returns and point of maximum yield and a point of negative returns. We must understand that. We should not give even excess fertilizers more than required based on the soil test and also based on the potential of the variety. Whether if it is tomato, whether it is yielding 30 tons per acre or 40 tons. Accordingly, we have to calculate the nutrition and then only we should give that according to the stages of the crop. So this wrong fertilizer application has led to soil degradation, and it's a national waste because all these fertilizers, most of these fertilizers are imported and these are from non-renewable sources, and it is causing huge pollution in the rivers, in the ocean and soil, and still we are getting low productivity. And because of this, there is horizontal expansion of crop like tobacco, unnecessary increase in acreage, and it is leading to horizontal expansion. What we want is vertical growth, not the horizontal expansion. We are producing so much food. We are number 2 in the world in many commodities, but our productivity is very low. We have plenty of land. That is why we are able to produce so much. Why farmer is in problem? Because of that. So it's not just economy is important. Ecology is equally important. So we have to consider all these points from the nation point of view. You can see this chart where how many liters of water is required to produce 1 kg of rice or 1 kg of beef. And suppose I showed the rice field. Imagine how many trillion gallons of water we have, or cusecs of water we have wasted. And it is not just the crop loss to the farmer, but it's a loss of all resources. Soil is a wonderful resource. Water, we are losing them, we are wasting them, we are spoiling them, we are killing them, and we have wasted human labor. We have wasted so much of fertilizers and pesticides, money, time, and emotion. So at the cost of all these, we are producing that much. So imagine how much we are losing annually at national level and how much we have already lost all these years. So basmati rice, we are number 1 exporter of basmati rice. And today, see, United States is, even European countries are rejecting our basmati because of pesticide residue. So mindless spraying. Because of poor nutrition, there is heavy insect attack or heavy disease attack and more pesticides. So export is decreasing because of pesticide residue in our basmati rice. And recently, just a few days back, my own professor wrote, sensitivity is farmers to minimize pesticide use. So he has recommended all the integrated methods to reduce. It is possible. It is through education. And now technologies are available to reach remote villages through our mobile technology, WhatsApp technology, and videos, and so many technologies are available. Now we must educate our farmers on these aspects so that we can produce more at low cost, less cost. So as I said, we developed a product. Is this already? This is the product called Phyton tea. Phyton means phytotonic. It has become so popular. On your right, you see there is a duplicate product, Phyton tea. And there is one more duplicate product, Phytron tea. This shows the success of our product. This is what I showed. See, by using the same variety, same soil, same rain, same fertilizers, look at the difference in the yield. So by using Phyton tea, we could increase the yield several times. Look at this young farmer. There is so much gap in between these thing. Plants are short, only coming to the waist level of the farmer, and already leaves have been harvested, and not much yield is expected out of this. But the same farmer, just next field, see this. So it is almost to his shoulder level, still growing and still green, and he could see this difference. Look at this difference. When you remove them, you can see the root system. So root is the main source of this growth. This 6 times more root system. And this farmer is like a scientist. He increased the space between the plants and rows and still produced a much higher yield from the less number of plants. So all scientists, officers, farmers all visited this farmer's field. And see, I am 6-footer, and we could grow. There was only 2 to 3 feet height plants. You see, up to 6 feet, and even the top leaves are so big in size. And we produce nearly 1,500 kgs of tobacco, cured tobacco per acre in this field. And the average today in Karnataka is only 500 kg. Even if you increase but just 200 kg, it's a big jump. It is a almost 50% jump in his yield and income. See this crop. This is beautiful crop, beautiful quality, and highest average price he got, farmer. And media came, and the farmer, the license was in the name of his wife, so she got the best grower award. And I was honored by Tobacco Board for this intervention. So all the red things are where we have our intervention has helped to increase both quality and yield of tobacco. So because of this, the area under tobacco has been shrunk in Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, and this is the news item came in newspapers. And yeah, we have 3 verticals in our organization: research, innovation, and production, and information extension service, and microfinance, means giving the critical inputs on credit basis without any interest. So this is a unique microfinance system through which, by giving right knowledge, right product, at right time, at right place, at right price, treating farmer as our business partner. So we have empowered the farmer, treating him as a producer partner, and Green Life is the knowledge, input, and technology partner. And bank helps us to recover the loan, the amount. So we treat him as financial partner for loan and recovery. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. So the repaying capacity of the farmer has increased. So recovery has become very easy for the banks. So they are happy, farmer is happy, and Green Life, and we are happy. So Phyton tea doesn't work only on tobacco. So even in potato, it has worked wonderful. In the foreground, you can see that control plot where the plants have been completely killed, whereas the treated plants are very green and they produced a heavy yield. And we got best research award for this product. And it can even cure the herbicide injured crop, like antidote. So this farmer field was sprayed with herbicide intentionally by his opponents overnight. So he was about to commit suicide. Then the news came in newspapers. We went and treated the crop free of cost. We gave all kinds of support, moral support, physical support, and financial support, and we saved the crop. And we are very, very happy about that. This is recurring in every year. Many farmers, by mistake, they spray herbicides because ginger has become new crop there, and ginger herbicide usage has become very common, but they don't know the difference between other pesticides and herbicide. So the same sprayers they may use, or by mistake they may spray a herbicide thinking it is one of the insecticides or fungicides. And because of this, so uh, they are suffering from this kind of problem. So we go there and we recover the crop. So crop recovered, confidence restored among farmers. So every year it has become. Last year tobacco had another new problem, unknown problem. Even today they don't know what exactly it is. But we have our own product called Power Plus. We gave the free treatment to farmers, nearly 50 farmers and nearly 150 acres. We treated free of cost, and we restored the crop. And to look at my model, many scientists, my peers from all over India have visited my laboratory, my tiny laboratory. This is Dr. S.S. Chahar, who wrote that article in Tribune about sensitizing farmers. He was Vice Chancellor in Rajasthan, Udaipur Agriculture University. And next to me is my wife. And on your right is my student who became Vice Chancellor of Gulbarga University. He is a biotechnologist. So many directors, vice chancellors. This is Professor Mahadevappa, who was vice chancellor of Agriculture University and who became chairman of Agricultural Research Scientist Recruitment Board. And this is Dr. Manmohan Manoharachari. This is Dr. Prakash from US. Mr. Jaychandra, the then Agriculture Minister. And this is a team from Department of Agriculture, and even Swamiji from our Ramakrishna Ashram, who is a mycologist, came. He wanted to see Alternaria, Fusarium, Helminthiasporium in the microscope. We were surprised, and he was so happy to see all those after several decades. And he asked many questions, and our own Jagat Guru Shivaratri Kendra Swamiji also visited, and he runs a KVK in Mysore. And he is very much interested in agriculture. And from his mutt, every year there is Krushi Mela, and much bigger Krushi Mela than other public sector Krushi Melas. And one red letter day, one Nobel laureate, our Professor Muhammad Yunus, visited to look at, not at my technology, but look at my microfinance model. So he was very happy. He invited me to his office in Bangladesh, and I went there. And then, of course, later he invited me to Berlin to present my another model. But he was unhappy that I was working on tobacco. So he said I should work on other crops, especially fruits and vegetables. So we took it as a challenge. We looked for new area, new crop, and we took new challenges and to give new solutions. So this is near KRS. This is the backwater of KRS. And you see there is one red mark. Those are the villages which will not have water even to drink during summer. Though water is so near, there it's a drought prone area. So we selected some villages there. See here, all the lands, or see the here in the center, the tank is full, means it is rainy season. But most of the lands are they are all empty. So because they have no resources to cultivate them. See how much area is being wasted, and they are just plowed down and left. So much of soil erosion happens when the bare land is open like this in a tropical area. All the organic carbon will get evaporated. It is being lost. Okay, unless you put fertilizer, you can't grow anything in these soils because there is no organic carbon at all, and they have no money to buy fertilizers, and there is no water, and there is no human labor available because they don't have money to pay the wages. So we selected this. See here, a farmer doesn't have even bullocks because he cannot manage them. So the poor crop stand, and poor crop stand again due to diseases, and there was no enough water. Only husband and wife had to pot water these, and they grow only 500 to 700 plants each time. You can see in the background there is old crop. By the time that gets over, he has to get the flowers from this new crop. So only those many plants he can grow. Only 2 crops will grow per crop. That is a quarter an acre. he can grow, and only 10 to 20,000 rupees per crop he will get. So maximum income per annum for this couple was 50,000 rupees. So most of the farmers were there, were in this situation. See, this is a good crop, but unfortunately, you see the soil-borne disease. At the time of flowering, the plants have started, dying. See, this is a nightmare for these farmers. And in addition to that, there are many other different diseases and insects, thrips, root grubs, caterpillars, even dodder. And because to save these crops, they were using indiscriminately, mindlessly, lot of chemical pesticides and losing lot of money. And see here, the plants are not dead, but see the maximum yield per plant. Maybe say 50 to 100 flowers per plant. That's all. Here he has used mulching, he has used drip irrigation, and he has given all fertilizers and pesticides. But yield is very minimum here, low productivity. And this used to be their daily flower harvest, and they have to sell this and make their living. So at that time, we entered the villages. We convinced the farmers that we have come on our own to help them. It was not easy to convince them. Uh, and we had to have a lot of meetings with all the farmers. And we had to enter into their own field to show that I am also son of a farmer. And after seeing our results in one season, they started accepting us, and we brought in they were growing their own seedlings in beds, and they were having perpetuating the diseases and insect problem to the next season. So we introduced tray technology. Because of this, establishment was uniform, and we encouraged them to go for drip irrigation. We encourage them to go for non-pesticidal methods of pest control, like sticky traps, pheromone traps, etc. And we showed them how to use the right dosage of chemicals, and what should be the spray nozzle and droplet size and all that. And the sticky traps you can see here. And we changed the agronomy. We changed the distance between the rows and the plants, and then number of plants came down per acre, but the yield was maximum. You can see the change what we brought in here. Enormous increase in this thing, dramatic increase in productivity, and nobody had seen this kind of yield potential in their own crops. And because of this, lot of employment was generated. Earlier, even youths of the villages didn't have jobs, but even women and old women started getting jobs. And we brought one more concept of LCD. LCD means local crop doctor. We identified an educated youth in the village. We brought him to our laboratory in Mysore. We trained him all aspects of that particular crop and other related crops. We gave him a two-wheeler, we gave him a smartphone, we gave him a laptop, we gave him an office, and we trained him and we motivated him. So he was an unemployed youth who had no status in the society. Today is the most respected plant doctor in the vicinity. So he is the guy. He is the guy. So now he has become a selfie expert. So with the happy farmers, even 80-year-old women who are sitting idly at homes, they have got jobs. They are earning their own pocket money. And the flower tying from outside, it came inside. It occupied all the places in the houses. And finally, they had to build a separate shed for this purpose. And as I said, it was a backwater of KRS. Just water alone was not the criterion for the poor productivity. See, the just river is backside. Here there is no dearth for water. Even then, productivity is very, very poor here. And even in agriculture institute demo plot, this was the maximum yield they were getting. He said demo plot, they have done everything best possible. But even then, but compared to this, look at in the farmer's field. How many times? Can you imagine how many times? I don't know how many times it is. See, the earlier farmer field, was that much, and now this is the yield what we are. So from their nightmare, we have put them into sweet dreams. They were on the bed of thorns. Now they are on the bed of flowers, literally and figuratively. So look at the market. Market is overflowing, and it has generated so many subsidiary businesses. So then van driver, tea shop, tea vendor, and traders. So many subsidiary businesses have developed. So even women have started trading flowers, and we have been able to not only retaining youth, we are also able to bring youths back to villages. Reverse migration has happened in these villages. They were all working in cities as taxi drivers or auto drivers or hotel suppliers or security people and other. So they're all back. They are all so happy, and some of them even have turned into traders. So we can see a lot of smile in their faces now. So now to talk about my daughter, she is a BSc Agriculture graduate and a PhD in Agribusiness Management. She has joined the bandwagon now, and she wants to take the baton forward. And I'm so glad she borrowed money from Grameen Bank to start her own agri clinic in a remote village called Balenalli in Kerpet Taluk. So this is how her office looks like. It's an information center for farmers. So all the necessary literature is here, information is here, and farmers have a different feeling now because there is someone to help them. So we go to farms regularly, meet farmers, see the crop, understand the problems if there are any, and timely suggestions and remedies. And working with them gives them so much moral boost. And many visitors are also coming to these villages. These two gentlemen on two extreme, right and left. On our right, to my right is Mr. Gopinath, who is a very leading farmer in Mysore. And he was even a member of National Horticulture Board. He was the leading anthurium producer of the country. And incidentally, his daughter is Dr. Geeta Gopinath, who is the chief economic advisor of International Monetary Fund, IMF. So on my left is a plywood factory owner. They need lot of timber for his factory. He wants to supply free saplings to farmers to grow the neem tree and other trees species. So they're all happy to see our progress. And we also introduced vegetables as alternative crops to them for crop diversity and, and you can see here how the face of the village is changing. On your right, the old traditional door is there. On your left, you see the modern door has come. Two brothers. And the tiles are also changing. As the income is coming, the face of the village is changing. See here. See, this grower became a trader. He made a lot of money. He built a big bungalow like this in the village and bought sites in the cities, Mysore city. And so much improvement is in socio-economic status. So media was very happy to publish about our success. They called it as floral revolution. So we have brought in 4 E's, that is economic benefit, employment benefit, environmental benefit, and emotional benefit to the farmers. So this success had impressed Professor Mahmood Yunus. He invited me to present in Berlin conference in 2019. So he was so happy that I followed his suggestion and I brought in these changes. So that is about that. And during our research, we also were able to develop a new product for virus management through escape mechanism. We can make the virus infected plant to recover. Before that, I want to talk about pepper, one of the leading crops of Karnataka, that is king of spices. See, this plantation was very healthy and very high yielding plantation because of that particular pepper wilt. within few years, it collapsed like this. That is the damage which can be caused by that particular wilt disease. So, looking at our success in disease management, the international people visited Mysore, and planters visited my tiny laboratory in my house, and they requested me to develop a package for wilt disease. We again studied the problem threadbare, and we developed a package for wilt recovery. You can see the collapsed, the bone dry vine is also sprouting back. See, and not only sprouting back, even it is producing panicles. So like this, you can see how this plant will, the dying plant recovers back. See this, completely recovered. So even for root diseases, we have wonderful remedy. So because of soil-borne root diseases and vector-borne virus diseases, we are losing how many thousands of crores every year in India alone, and how many $billions in the world, you can imagine, because there is no remedy for so far in this. So I took as challenge as a pathologist, and we have developed packages to control these diseases. So even Kerala, neighboring state, Kerala, who are experts in growing papaya, this pepper and ginger, they also come to us. They invite us to train their farmers. They are all very highly educated farmers. They can understand English, even Kannada. They can pick up languages very easily. So coming to viruses, as I said, there is no remedy for virus disease because COVID-19, everybody knows about virus. The vaccination is only a prevention, not a cure. So even in plants, the same thing. Even in animals, there is same thing. But unfortunately, there is no vaccination available in plants. They tried as immunization, it didn't work in the field. So once the virus, always the virus. So any virologist will suggest that once there is virus, to uproot the plant and bury it or burn it. That's all the recommendation they can give worldwide, not only in India. So papaya is one of the leading tropical fruit crops, and it's the third most important fruit after mango and pineapple, and which is available throughout the year. It's a poor man's fruit and patients friendly fruit because even diabetics can eat it. And all doctors happily recommend this fruit for all kinds of patients. And even for grower, it is a wonderful crop because it doesn't demand much water, it doesn't demand much labor. But unfortunately, it is affected by papaya ring spot virus, which is the #1 disease, because in other crops, fungal diseases are the major diseases. Virus may be a third or fourth position, but in this, the first position is taken by papaya ring spot virus. So many farmers have stopped growing this because of the damage it causes when it's grown. So this is the kind of damage and the symptoms it produces. So these are the typical theoretical recommendations like roguing, cross protection, cultural practices, insect vector control. Of course, that last two things are possible. Breeding the resistant varieties, they would work, though it may work for a few years because it may break down. Like already COVID-19 has developed 2 to 3 new strains. Like that, virus will develop new strains. So, but right now, transgenic papaya in US is working in Hawaii and other countries. But unfortunately, in our country, we cannot grow this because they are not allowed to grow here. So we developed this Power Plus, which is a combination of plant extracts, which is totally non-toxic, systemic. It is compatible with all other pesticides. It's highly economically priced, and it's very eco-friendly. It is not an antibiotic, but it is a probiotic. It boosts the resistance in the plant system. See here the evidences I am going to show you. On your left is the untreated plant, which is already stopped growing because it has been affected by the virus. On your right is the treated plant. The lower leaves are having the symptoms of the virus, but the new leaf which is emerging is becoming normal in size and greener than the lower leaves. See, this is how it recovers. As it grows, the new leaves become normal and very green in color with a high amount of chlorophyll. See this plant. This plant has been affected at this stage. Even this can be recovered like this. See, this farmer's field, 100% infection is there. But when farmer was about to remove this entire plot and go for some other crop. That was the recommendation given by horticulture department and horticulture experts. Then we went there. We said, don't worry, we will treat the plants. Look at the trees behind as a landmark. See this after 1 month, after 2 months, the plants have been completely recovered. I took scientists to see the difference, and I had to show the photo of the earlier situation because the crop had recovered so much. There was no way I could convince them. See this, Professor Manarachar is visiting. On the top is the earlier situation, below the recovered crop. On your left, you see the lower leaves are totally malformed, deformed, and diseased. But how the new leaves emerging after the treatment are becoming totally healthy and green. On your right is not the disease. Sometimes they say this is a virus infected plant. No, this is actually boron deficiency. This can be easily corrected by boron nutrients. See this our demo plot on your right. See one row of untreated plants. There is no yield at all. On your left, hundreds of plants treated, growing vigorously with lots of fruits. Such a thing is not there in any part of the world. Nobody has demonstrated this way by treating the plants. This is only possible by developing resistant varieties. This kind of difference can be shown only in resistant varieties or in a fungal disease or in insect case damage. But in case of virus, no crop, no treatment has given this kind of day and night difference. See this picture on your left, extreme left, 2-year-old crop. I have maintained the crop for 2 months without virus infection. And look at the yield also. Still it is yielding heavily. On your right is in the foreground we have untreated plants, and in the background 9-month-old treated plants. And many scientists were invited. They are all happy to visit and see for themselves, because seeing is believing. This is Professor Mahamadeva Devappa. This is Professor Ayyappan, who was Director General of ICR, New Delhi, and Dr. Niranjan, as usual, is there. A team from Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, Hesrighatta, Bangalore. He is the ex-Vice Chancellor of Horticulture University, Bagalkot. He is the present Vice Chancellor, Dr. Indresh of Horticulture University, Bagalkot. This is his team from Bagalkot. This is Chief Scientist from Central Food Technological Research Institute, CFTRI, Mysore. And look at the yield in the plants. This is my PhD professor, Professor Shekhar Shetty. These are the 3 leading virologists of our country, Dr. Muniyappa, Dr. Subramanya Shastri, who has written monumental books on virology, and in the center, young Professor Maruti Gowda from Greenwich University, London. They were all so surprised to see this kind of difference due to treatment. They never had believed that virus plants can be cured and we could get that kind of yield. And Dr. Maruti Gowda invited me to Greenwich also. And look at the yield. These are all these plants had once virus infection. So we have treated them and taken to this level to yield this much of yield. And the media, of course, covered very vividly, very widely. Even international media covered this news. And I was invited by Greenwich University. I went there, presented, and they were working on cassava mosaic virus, which is a staple crop of Africa. And papaya being a tropical fruit, they are not working. Though this is a tropical crop, this is a staple crop. Bill Gates Foundation has funded this project. They are working on that. So I got interested. I got interested on cassava and also peanut, that is groundnut. In the foreground, you can see groundnut. So I started working on that. We made a lot of progress. You can clearly see here treated and untreated rows. See on the left, you see the lower leaves are having a heavy infection, but later they have recovered and they have become normal. But of course, the virus infection has not gone completely here, unlike in case of papaya. but still we could get economical yield. I'll show you the yield later. See the healthy plants, difference between healthy and treated plants. See the difference? See the difference? And Marthi Gowda was kind enough to visit my trial plot also. And in his presence, we harvested these plants and we got amazing yield. That is 27.56 kgs per plant. So imagine if you have 1,000 plants in an acre, we could produce 27.5 tons of carbohydrate in 1 acre, and without much water, because it's a drought resistant crop. It can be easily grown in many parts of the country. And imagine we are able to produce um, rice only up to 3 tons per acre. Where is 3 ton with that much of water? And where is 27.5 tons of carbohydrate per acre without much water? And this is the latest, 14th May 2021. That is just 5 days back this news came. See, the tomato virus strikes again in Maharashtra. New virus has been attacking tomatoes, and they can't be marketed. Though they are harvesting, they can't be marketed. And scientists are just wondering what is this virus. They are only telling what is the virus. And they are giving new names to the virus. That's all. They have no clues how to control them. Farmers don't care what is the name of the virus and which category it belongs to. They just want how to control it and get economic yield. Anyway, that is about my virus research. It has a big potential in the future to take it forward and to test on various viruses in various crops, because it is not virus specific, it is not host specific, and further research can definitely give solutions to most of the viruses in most of the crops. And this last year, using the lockdown as an opportunity, I finished my book called Plant Doctor, which is a practical manual for diagnosis and management of deficiencies, disease, and insect pests. It is stated as encyclopedia or Bhagavad Gita or Bible. All top people in the field have described my book that way. And there is a website you can go, and anybody is interested, they can contact us. And that is about me, my wife, and my daughter. We are all into agriculture, farmer service. Even my son, who is studied in UPenn, he is also equally interested in farmer service. So he graduated from there, and while graduating, he also got a prize. So he was Donald Trump's daughter's classmate. So he also attended the graduation ceremony. And he got $150,000 as prize money to work for farmers in India for 1 year. So he got interested. He visited many universities in US to know how extension is done in those states. And he also joined me to help farmers. And he did a wonderful project in India. So we are continuing his work even now. Not only my children, but even my grandson and my grandchildren are equally interested in agriculture. We are inculcating that love for land, love for plants, love for environment, and love for agriculture, and love for farmers from the childhood. We are catching them young. Thank you very much. So anybody wants to contact me, you can use my email or phone number. You are most welcome to ask me any questions. If there are any, I'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again. I think this is my fifth or sixth webinar. I'm so much interested. Every time I see this, I get motivated. So I had invited a couple of them who are also into agriculture consulting. So I will ask Deepak Basavaraj and Arun Shankar if they have any questions.
Hi, this is Deepak Basavaraj. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, a little bit louder.
Okay. Okay. Can I do have a few questions which I put in chat, and Chaitra asked me to wait so that.
This is audible.
Okay. So I'd like to ask Doctor, what's the emphasis on importance of organic carbon in soil? So, when you all are working with farmer, is there a workshop on those lines? See, as a practicing natural farming, natural farmer, and a consultant, and of course, my permaculture philosophies I follow. So, for us, I mean, we believe organic carbon in soil is lacking, and I'm sure doctor is very much aware of this. So, how are we making our farmers aware of this? And to a great extent, if a lot of us follow this, we can even we keep a check on floods and some of these natural calamities to a certain extent at least, because our soil is not taking in any water due to the usage of chemicals. So, what is green revolution for an actual natural farmer is being a black revolution. So we are aware of it because of the chemicals were used for so many decades. So what does I want to know doctor's opinion on it?
I think you know it better than me because you are already working on natural farming. And I have given the reasons why our soils have been depleted and why, and of course, ours is a tropical country. When the land is open to the sun, such a high temperature, organic carbon cannot stay there. And they're all naked soils. So there is no vegetation on the soil. So it is bound to lose organic carbon. And there is no organic carbon in most of the soils as such. And because of the wrong usage of fertilizers and the chemical reactions have happened in the soil, and the chemistry has been changed and the pH has been changed, and the plants are not able to take the nutrients whatever we are supplying. So, so the new concept now is called regenerative farming.
Yes.
So this concept has become into the forefront in recent years, and for which our own Indian Dr. Ratan Lal got a World Food Prize last year. And even this year, one more Indian origin person has got Nobel. Just 2 days back, it was announced. Dr. Shakuntala got it, but she is in Trinidad, West Indies. But her origin is from India. So anyway, going back to Dr. Ratanan Lal's work, he has given wonderful mechanisms how our soils can be regenerated, and maybe cover crops, crop rotation, and we should not leave our land as such, bare, naked. Only in plantation crops, the soil is covered. There is shade is there. So organic content is very high, though soil pH is acidic in rainy areas. But at least that is easy to correct. But organic matter is there. But in open lands, which I showed in KRS backwater area, so how that open land can hold organic carbon? And so if you want to regenerate them and make it productive, we have to add lot of organic matter into it. Okay, externally we have to grow green manures, or from outside we have to bring green leaves and put it, or we have to put organic manures. Like that only we have to bring back our organic carbon content in the soil. Otherwise there is no. And only in the presence of these organic content, organic manures, our biofertilizers will work. Our biocontrol agents will survive and work and make more fertile. Otherwise, even without the organic matter in the soil, our biofertilizers, what we are producing in laboratory artificially, biofertilizers, they cannot survive in the soil. So, first of all, our tropical nature is itself is a problem. So we have to gradually convert our soil with certain minimum organic content, and then we go for some cover crops and keep on adding back to the soil and increase the organic content. That is the only way.
Thanks, doctor. We are doing all this, and someone like you vouching is, I'm very, very happy.
That's what I told you. You are already doing it. You know it better. So
Yes.
you made me to repeat the same thing.
No, no. That is for the benefit of the rest of us
Okay, fine,
in the
fine.
group. And
Yeah.
Deepak and me are classmates from school, so I'm very happy that he is like connecting, people who are like-minded. And I have a couple of other questions. Unless someone else has questions, I don't want to do all the. I do have a few more questions, but if
Sure,
someone
sure.
else wants, I let us go turn by turn. I would like to
Okay,
give.
okay, fine, fine.
I'll wait. If someone doesn't have a question, then I'll come again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
So I will ask Arun Shankar. He's a banker who's turned out into hydroponic farmer. He's just experimenting. Arun, do you have any questions? Otherwise, I will ask someone else to take a question. Yeah, Arun, you have raised a hand. Please go ahead.
Hi, Deepak. Good evening, and good evening to you, Doctor. This was a really great lesson, and
Thank
I'm
you.
happy to be part of this webinar.
Yeah.
Basically, I have started a hydroponic setup. It's a small setup to grow cherry tomatoes predominantly.
Okay.
And what is the major issue I face is, having a postmortem of, looking after which insect has affected the plant, and then do the curing for the same.
Yeah.
What is the best practice to follow so that we can have a preventive method of
Yeah.
ensuring that the plants are not getting affected by any of the insects or pesticides?
Okay. Normally, you will have two kinds of insect pests. Number one is caterpillars. Another one is sucking insects. For
Yes, sir.
monitoring the caterpillars, we have different pheromone traps for different kind of the species specific pheromone traps are there. So very easy to monitor them. So depending on the number of catches per day or per week, we can monitor the occurrence of these insect pests. Another is sticky traps. Sticky traps, color sticky traps, yellow sticky traps, blue sticky traps. For different colors, different sucking insects are attracted. What we have put in the open field, you can put plenty of these sticky traps, light traps, so that not only for monitoring, even for major reduction will be there due to these traps. And of course, periodical sprays. Once you know that at what stage, what kind of insect pest will occur, depending on the crop, you can always have precautionary sprays, actually, preventive sprays, because preventive sprays are better than sprays after the big damage or big population has developed.
Okay, doctor. Thank you very much for
Thank
this.
you. Thank you.
So anyone else has a question? Otherwise, Deepak, you can continue with your question.
Yeah. So my next question for doctor would be like, see, most of India has marginal small farmers, and you have been working with so many of them.
Yeah.
So can we, as like, I mean, I don't know whether it can be. It will be great if it can be made. These are like policy decisions, but can we like guide them towards creating food forests in terms of getting them out of monocropping? And
Yes.
that way, like if they're growing even in a 1 acre, if they're growing like 5 8 different vegetables, for instance, even
Yeah.
one or two fail, they have other 6 vegetables to make out of it. If they grow a single one, then if some pest attacks or something happens, then the whole thing is lost, and they're like again back, they've taken that loan, they can't go about paying it back and things like that. So what is your opinion on this?
No, no, absolutely, you are right. That is what we are working on. See, I talked about the negative aspect of monocropping.
Yes, yes, you
No,
did.
we have to go for multiple cropping and agroforestry. I mentioned all that in our
Yes,
mission,
yes, you did, you
mission
did. I
statement.
yes, yes. Go ahead.
Yes, I have mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, and okay, my next question would be like whether it's GKVK or any of our testing labs, when we give a soil sample for testing,
Yeah.
the actual percentage of tested is about just like close, not even 1% of it. In the other 99% means they say that available phosphorus, available this, available that, which means what can be broken with usage of what government things with the chemicals can be broken. The other 99% of soil is still open. There are, like you already mentioned, the microorganisms can break open so many of those minerals, and
Yes.
which are like the rest 99%. So there's a huge opportunity there itself, and our
Exactly.
soil tests don't even point us to that direction.
Yes.
So with these things, I mean, why are we taking so many decades for some changes like this to happen, when
Yeah.
we know actually the 200 years ago, our ancestors knew a lot of these things, and they did multi-cropping, and they know organic manures went in. Organic manures will break in. Organic carbon will mix with organic manures, and the carbon will act as banks to hold on the moisture. Plants need moisture; they don't need water. Humans think they need water, and we flood them. They
Yeah,
just need to have moisture and cover the layer, like you said. No, everything should be covered from on the top,
yes,
whether
yeah,
it's mulching or whether it's growing. Multi-layer farming, everything should be covered. So
exactly.
why is this taking so long? I mean, what is your opinion on how it's a very big effort to even talk to one farmer and make him change. So we always have to go and show it to them that this works, then they start following. I know, I mean, I understand their predicament, but then can't it's good, I think, from the last 5-10 years, lot of us who are in different fields are coming into farming, and we'll try all these crazy things. So I mean, according to the world, we are crazy, but then that's how it is. So I want to know what's your take on that.
I don't want to comment much on that because it's a policy matter, and I am not working on that. I am more now interested in my research because see, this my business model can be taken forward by many people, including you or any other person. But my research is very, very important for me now because I am able to control virus diseases. I am looking forward towards that. Actually, I am want to cover more number of crops and develop a base for other virologists to work on. So I am showing my model where the integrated crop management would help increase productivity and quality. So that is what I have developed. And my daughter will be taking it forward, Dr. Chaitra, and I will be focusing more on my research, on virus research, disease management research.
I'm very happy that Deepak introduced us, and I am from Mysore as well, so I'll be
Is
waiting
it?
for an opportunity to meet you all.
Oh, sure. Anytime. Anytime.
Yeah, thanks, Deepak. I think Mr. Umesh had raised his hand. After that, we have another question from Rohit. Mr. Umesh, can you ask the question, and then Rohit, you can take it. Umesh, can you mute yourself? Or Rohit, do you want to ask the question? Chaitra, can you try muting Mr. Umesh? Unmuting, sorry.
Hello.
Yeah, Umesh, we can hear you.
Dr. Namaskara.
Umesh avarge namaskara.
As far as Arun Shankar, who was growing, who told he is growing this one, cherry tomato in the hydroponics.
Yeah, he said.
Yeah, the main problem what I have occurred is tuta problem. That is pinhole.
Okay, okay.
Tomato pinhole worm.
Yeah.
That is a major problem everybody is facing.
Yes.
You can address on that, doctor. It will be helpful.
No, this is a lepidopteran insect, number one, though it is called leaf miner. The damage is leaf mining, but it is a fruit borer as well, and it's a newly introduced pest. It has got pheromone traps, light traps, and any contact insecticide can be used to control this. But you should know at what stage. IHR has developed a very good package for management of tuta absoluta. So by following those integrated management steps, you can easily control tuta absoluta.
I could notice the adults, that is this one, adult butterflies, they hide under this one. What is that? Cocoa peat. That is a major one.
Okay, okay. The pheromone traps, no. Light traps and pheromone traps. You should increase the number. See, basically they say pheromone traps are only for monitoring the population.
Okay.
To know the occurrence. But no, if you just increase them, it will actually catch more number of males, and from the initial stage itself, if you use them, there won't be any chance for them to multiply in the initial stage. So that is one thing. And at flowering stage, you should you start using some of these effective contact insecticides like
Okay.
spinosad or any
Okay.
very good abamectin benzoate, many very good
Emamectin benzoate.
emamectin benzoate. All these are very effective against lepidopteran insects.
Thank you, doctor. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Sure, same to you.
Can you unmute Rohit Ramdev? He has a question, and then Deepak, you can ask the next question. Rohit Ramdev. Yeah, Rohit.
Vasanth Kumar sir, namaste. Yesterday
Namaskar.
we met in the office, and today I am there on the video call.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Rohit.
Thanks for Power Plus. I think it is a boon for papaya, where I am able to survive the crop from almost a year now.
Wonderful.
Probably papaya block ಹೋದಾಗಲೆಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡೇ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಆ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಬಂದಿದೀವಿ ನಾವು.
Wonderful. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I yesterday's discussion I had few questions, but I thought I'll put it across when we are meeting today. One thing is I have a 24-acre block where I have varied soil conditions from pH 6.5 to 11.
Okay.
Where from past 26 years I have tried to reclaim the soil with gypsum and other green manure seeds in few plots.
Yeah.
And growing coconut and areca in high pH values.
Okay.
According to your experience, do you think that plowing on high pH is effective? Because I have seen that more plowing in a high pH value soil actually deteriorates the plant condition, especially the arecanut.
Definitely. Soil pH is the key. That's what I told you. I showed a separate chart about pH, soil pH.
Yeah.
So
now
we should bring it to normal. 6.5 to 7.5 should be the ideal soil pH.
Yeah, my question is whether high plowing is advisable in high pH soils, according to your experience.
No, it depends. No, you just give me the soil test report. Then I can see in my book what you bought yesterday, plant doctor book you bought.
Yeah.
So there is how to reclaim the soils. That chapter is there.
Okay.
How to solve the problematic soils. Okay. So if you don't understand that, please come sometime. We will discuss and I will let you know.
Yeah, and in the future, I would like to suggest that why don't you bring a handbook where crops to be grown in a typical soil conditions.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a farmer's guide for everybody. A handbook on soil structure and the crops to be grown on that.
Definitely.
Okay.
Thank you very
and
much.
what is the solution for snail problem?
Okay. Snail, there are many methods. One is chemical method, another is cultural method. That is, they are attracted to wet area. So wet gunny bags can be put near the plant so that they will get attracted. And by using salt, so wherever they are crawling on that way, if you put salt, so because of the mucus, this thing, they get dehydrated and they get easily killed. Another one is metaldehyde is the chemical used to control them. These are they have to be captured and killed. There are cultural methods available. Hello? Rohit?
I think it's gone on mute.
Okay. He is the papaya farmer using Power Plus. Okay.
Yeah. Deepak, you had another question. So anyone else after this? We'll take one or two questions after this.
Yes, Deepak again, doctor.
For sure.
Uh, I'd like to. I just want to know what you feel that are we producing enough and more food? I know a lot of it gets wasted, and you spoke a lot about tobacco. So should something like tobacco be an option if a farmer has about assume he has, someone has 5 acres. So should they be growing tobacco in a couple of acres and food in a couple of acres if they can? So that is because tobacco will fetch them some money for sustenance, and vegetable always has this varying rate. Something like tobacco, liquor and tobacco in any country will get them like some guaranteed money for sure. So I mean, liquor we can't comment now. Now we are talking about agriculture, so tobacco we can because it's a plant. So do you think that it's a good idea, like if assume I am like consulting and some small marginal farmer, I'm telling him, okay, can I should I tell him grow 2 acres of tobacco and grow 3 acres of mixed vegetables, something like that? Do
So
you
that is
suggest?
what we are doing actually.
Hmm.
That is what we have shrunk the area under tobacco. So we
Okay.
have released the encroached area by tobacco. We have released them to grow other crops. We wanted them to grow vegetables, but they have gone into ginger,
Okay.
another cash crop, because
Okay.
now they have bore wells and other things, so they can grow any other crop. But ginger crop is a easy crop for them because it is one-time harvest. If you grow vegetables, you need more of laborers. Laborer problem is there in our
Yes,
area.
labor intensive. Yeah. Yeah.
So that is why they go for ginger, and they grow maize, they grow ragi for themselves, and some vegetables for their own domestic use.
Okay. Yeah, ginger, turmeric, I mean, wherever it can grow, and millets also we suggest. But
Yeah.
to suggest tobacco, being practicing permaculture, like ethically, we don't feel comfortable. That's why
Professor
I don't
Muhammad
suggest.
Yunus said the same thing. It is not an ethical crop.
Yes.
That's why we had to go for other areas to show that we can do a similar impact in any crop, any area.
Yes, I mean, actually, I mean, and thank you for the wonderful, we didn't even realize it was like, almost, more than like 90 minutes you spoke, and it was like really very, I mean, it was enlightening to see so many of the things you're doing, and thank you for whatever you do.
Now, I must thank you for your patience and for joining the meeting.
No, it is. Thank you. So we will stay in touch, and
Yeah, please, please.
yes,
I'll
yes.
be more happy to meet you.
Yes, doctors. Thank you. Likewise, and we will meet up soon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure, sure.
If anybody else has a question, otherwise we will call it a day. I think Hari Prasad has raised a question. Petra, can you please unmute Hari Prasad? Yeah, Hari Prasad, please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Hari Prasad here from Bangalore.
Okay.
I just want to know one thing. Imagining because today lots of people are venturing into agriculture.
Yeah.
What's your suggestion or advice like to start off? In the sense, as per my idea, vegetables would be something where it's cumbersome because it requires lots of labor, which you just said now. So something for a fresh farmer or a guy who's venturing into agriculture, which is the best crop or which is the best way to start off as per
No, I
your.
never suggest any crop to anyone.
Okay.
If you are growing some crop, if you have any problem, I will try to help you to address that problem.
Okay.
So
It
it is
can be
very
anything.
difficult for anyone to, but the general suggestion is that don't put your eggs in the same basket. You
Okay.
should have
Okay.
multiple crop system. Okay, you
Okay.
should have short-term crop, medium-term crop, and long-term crop, and that is how you should distribute your risk and also your income revenue pattern.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
thank you.
So any more questions? Anyone else raising hands? No, I don't think so. I think it's getting late also. It's dinner time.
Yes, dinner time.
Vasanth Kumar, again, I think this is a wonderful session. I think it's a weekday we had people also busy. Probably we'll do another session when we plan over a weekend. We will try to get as many more participants to this platform so that all of them can benefit. And thank you once again. I think every request you, whatever I've requested you, have signed up and you patiently addressed every 90-minute session. I think we have got wonderful reactions and wonderful interest people are showing, and this is what we should continue for a couple of more months till we reach a certain mass, and we will also get connected well across the country. Like people like Deepak, who are also not only consulting in India, they're also consulting outside. Dr. Mishra and couple of others. Today, I had also invited people from Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Probably they might have turned out, but there might be another session for them which we can carry on. All the farmers across the globe should get benefited from the work we are doing, whether it is India or abroad, because it's a tropical common climate for all of us. And see how we can build people thrive, especially given that the agriculture productivity level is high. And it is possible, and China can do it. Obviously, we can also do it with that mindset and some politics which we have to do. And again, the traditional methods have to changing mindset is I think there is a challenge for everyone, and I think we should address that from the hand. Thank you so much, and thanks all the participants who had attended, stayed patiently. And whenever it is the next session, we will post it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, on WhatsApp. Please forward it as many people, common community, especially so that we all can get help from bring that technology to Dr. Vasanth and Dr. Chaitra. Thank you so much, and have a good night, and stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Deepak. Thank you, all the participants, and thank you, Chaitra.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Good night. Good night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.